Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the Baltimore Ravens, one of my fan favorite teams. They got Roquan Smith at the deadline, and regardless of if you thought they needed a cornerback, if you thought they needed a wide receiver, which I was a big advocate if you've been watching this channel the last couple of weeks. By the way, guys, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily content. If you want more Ravens videos, go ahead, show some love, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you want more. But to me, take it from a Chicago cat, all right? Born and raised, Chicago, North Side. Roquan Smith is a playmaker, all right? He's a complete playmaker, and he changes everything. Now, we'll talk about that in a second. I was just reading an article on RussellStreetReport.com talking about how the wide receiver room, it makes sense that the Ravens didn't necessarily go out of their way and overpay for a wide receiver. You know, we take a look at Calvin Ridley. He's actually not eligible to play until 2023. Chase Claypool was traded to the Chicago Bears for a second-round pick. Kadarius Toney, I mean, he's only logged like, 8 games, something like that with the New York Giants. He can't stay healthy. He cannot keep that hamstring healthy. So, you know, a couple of cats I was interested in for the Ravens, Jerry Jeudy. I know he has his drop problems. DJ Moore, seems like the Carolina Panthers were pretty set in stone as far as not getting rid of him. I was even looking a little bit into Brandon Cooks just because I thought that a deep threat playmaker for the Ravens would be beneficial. However, when you really take a look at the numbers for all the receivers, it's not like, first off, cheap, and it's also more of a commitment. Like, for example, if you were to trade for Brandon Cooks, well, that's awesome because Brandon Cooks is a back-to-back 1,000-yard season wide receiver, but he's guaranteed $18 million next season. So when you really break down the metrics, it makes sense that the Ravens didn't make a move. Keep in mind, they were without Bateman, essentially, this past week. They were without Mark Andrews this past week, and when we take a look at the Ravens' losses, well, almost all their losses came from the defensive side. And so if you watched my video yesterday, you know my thoughts on Roquan. You've already heard a couple of seconds of this video. He's 25 years old, and I think undisputed. Like, keep in mind, I'm a little bit biased, right? Like I said, I'm from Chicago, so I'm a little bit biased. I think Roquan Smith is by far the best linebacker in the NFL. That's just me. I cannot believe that Roquan Smith in his 5th season here has never made a Pro Bowl. He currently leads the league in tackles with 83, couple quarterback hits, couple tackles for losses. He's got 2.5 sacks. He has 2 interceptions. He's got 3 pass deflections. Like, I've seen Roquan play in person. This is a big-time move because you have Lamar Jackson, you have Bateman, you have Mark Andrews. We've been seeing in recent weeks the running game get back on speed, especially as they start to get more healthy. It makes sense on paper that they focused on defense. And, you know, I know Roquan Smith has a contract extension up this upcoming season. I know he's about to get paid a nice little baggie. Whether that's from the Ravens or not the Ravens, that's honestly not what I'm concerned about. You know, I like taking the approach of the Rams where it's like they gave up a bunch of draft assets in the last couple of years to turn their squad into Super Bowl contenders each and every year. Now, keep in mind things aren't working great for the Rams this season, but what did they do last year? Well, I'll answer for you. They won it all. So I get a second-round pick as far as draft value, draft capital might be a little bit on the higher side. However, to me, if the Ravens win a Super Bowl, it's not even close how worth it that trade was, let alone the fact that he could re-sign with Baltimore. I mean, you know, I've been listening to a lot of Chicago boy, right? So I've been listening to a lot of Chicago sports radio, and like, whether it's the Bears fans, whether it's Ravens fans, everybody can just agree and confirm with the fact that Roquan Smith in a Baltimore Raven uniform makes so much sense. It just makes so much sense. It actually reminds me of Ray Lewis. I'm not trying to get ahead of myself here, trying to keep my expectations in check because I've got a bunch of family in Baltimore. I've been to Baltimore a bunch of times. I love that city. I'm trying to keep my expectations in check, because if I were to root for a team outside of my home squad, it would probably be for sure the Baltimore Ravens. And, like I said, I really think a wide receiver would have taken them to the next level. Although Roquan Smith takes your defense to the next level, just imagine, I made a video on this yesterday. Imagine they went out, they traded for Roquan Smith and DJ Moore. To me, as far as I'm concerned, they're Super Bowl favorites. They're literally my Super Bowl favorites. But you're sitting atop your division. You're 5-3. Like I alluded to earlier in the video, all of your losses have either come from Lamar Jackson, brutal turnovers, which I'm not concerned about, or just defensive faults. And getting Roquan, people got to keep in mind, it's cool to see the stats, right? He leads the league in tackles with 83. That's awesome. Last season, still no Pro Bowl. However, he had 3 sacks, bunch of pass deflections. He had an interception. He actually had a pick 6. But he had 163 tackles, and 12 of those were for loss, 4 of those were quarterback hits. That gets me going, yeah. But keep in mind, he's holding opponent quarterback ratings to under 60. It's not like Roquan Smith can attack the QB or he could stop the run and it ends there. No. He's one of the best pass coverage linebackers in the entire NFL. So he fits the culture perfectly. It just makes sense that he's in purple and black right now with the Baltimore Ravens. It just makes sense. Maybe there isn't on paper an actual reasoning for that, but I think Ravens fans would agree with me. Let me know if you agree with this statement. Roquan Smith was born to be a Baltimore Raven. It just is the perfect fit. So making a move like this, you had teams like the Dolphins going out there getting Bradley Chubb. The way I view Roquan, even if it's just a rental, at 25 years old, this is a guy who legitimately will win you games. It's not even an if. It's, no, Roquan Smith will win you games. That's how good he is. And if the Ravens had the opportunity, which they clearly did as they made the trade, to get Roquan Smith, to me, I don't care what I was to give up. I get, like I said, he's without an agent. He's representing himself. That's a whole headache in its own, just like Lamar Jackson. But you know what takes care of everything? I'll answer for you. The answer is winning. Winning takes care of everything. And if things go as planned, if things go smoothly with this Roquan Smith trade, I literally just don't have any concerns about long term. Because at worst, to me, the Ravens were already Super Bowl contenders. Well, now they're even more Super Bowl contenders. At the end of the day, they got better, and that's all that matters. So let me know what you guys are thinking about that Roquan Smith trade. Hit that like button, hit that sub button if you want more Ravens content. Show some love down below. Peace.